Hey everybody, High Lord Tamerlane with more obscurities in miniature. It's that time of the week to see what we've all been up to, and I shall present to you my weekly painting progress. So this week I finally got a bunch of other junk that's been in front of me for quite some time, and it's finally done. And what is it, you may ask? A bunch of Wrath of Kings figures. I want to say these are the Dragoon or Dragon Legionnaires. Dragon Legionnaires, not Dragoon. And despite their bathrobes and lack of pants, they're kind of cool. These are for the Shaelhan faction and Wrath of Kings. They seem a little on the short side, which is funny because most of the other Wrath of Kings figures are, pretty reasonably sized. But these fellows are quite diminutive, especially in comparison to our Games Workshop Inquisitor friend there. Now, despite their lack of size, they are not the only Far Eastern themed figures that were painted this week. So this is the shaman slash Shinto priest, if you want to call it, which is really weird, for Rising Sun, which is one of Cool Mini's kickstarted board games, but she's supposed to be from their Korean Moon clan, so a Korean Shinto priest. Makes no sense, but it is what it is. And again, this is the game where they had the Monkey King named after some Kiwi in New Zealand because his name was on the Wikipedia page. So I don't think I've seen her painted anywhere. I don't know what she's supposed to be, and doesn't really ring a bell in terms of Korean mythology or outfits that she's wearing, but I do like it. It's kind of cool. Try to put some distinct colors between all of her various layers. The original artwork by Adrian Smith is supposed to look like kind of flames or something, and I'm sure given a more competent painter, they can do it a lot better job and justice than I can. You'll notice, yeah, they're barely up to her waist. And then I believe this gentleman right here is one of the Bonsai Clan warriors from Wrath of Kings. Yeah, look at that sloppy job on the base there. His polka dots are different, but I was basically just copying whoever painted the models that were on the actual Kickstarter page. So there's that guy. Speaking of board game pieces, we took a little trip to the other side in Weird's new mass combat game. So this is one of the Abyssinian Steel Legion. I want to say they're called the Steel Legion. This is one of the mechanized infantry guys that goes along with the big bipedal buzzsaw robot. He's a little bit larger than the rest of them, following the rule of 3 for Weird Minis and Malifaux, that the third figure in the set is always going to be proportionally larger than the rest of them, despite, being bent over or something. So there's that guy. And all of these Steel Legion figures are equipped with machine guns and buzzsaws. Now, this figure was a pain in the butt to actually get on her base. She has barely any contact point, and I ended up pinning her and with a tiny little leftover clipping off of a paper clip, and then once I glued all of the basey material, that kind of helped keep her stable. So she's not going anywhere now, at least. Not the most fantastic of paint jobs, but for a mass combat game, I'm just going to get it over and done with and call it a day. Finally, there is, I don't know. I like this figure the most. I figured she'd be the commander model, but I think it's actually supposed to be this one with her flowing cape. Coattails behind her. I think this one I probably spent the most time on. Very striking scorpion-looking color scheme, and her backside is still quite glossy and shiny, but I'll blame that on the tester's dull coat rather than anything else. It just doesn't have the same mattness as, say, the Tamiya stuff. We're starting to get crowded here. One nice thing about the other side figures, and I just finished off Parker Barrows from the Fistful of Script box, which is one of the Malifaux crews. They are quite in scale with Malifaux, and I had planned on using some of these figures in Her Majesty's name from Osprey's rulebooks line. It seemed like a good fit for all of the Victorian steampunk-looking stuff. Like this guy, one of the South Wales borderers, because there's nothing more Victorian than dudes with steam-driven, piston-pounding, jackknifed mechanical limbs. I don't know what's going on with him, but he's just crazy. So this guy was kind of my test model for all the other side stuff, as well as this guy. This is from the Cult of the Burning Man. He's one of their Black Ops. And I want to say, I don't know if these guys are all supposed to work independently of each other, or if they're all supposed to hang out and work in fire teams like everybody else in the game. Not really sure. But it's a fat guy with weird steampunk bits all over him. Let's see, what else? We've got a Night Stalker model from Kings of War Vanguard. My dad has been nagging me to finish painting that big floaty brain resin monstrosity from Vanguard, so I got that started and figured we should have some other Night Stalkers to go along with them. Attempt to shove everybody in the frame. And then 2 random old Night Goblins, because if you've noticed, I've got some videos up of the other newer Night Goblins, and I have no actual Night Goblins to go along with them, so I figured I got a good deal on eBay, grabbed a couple sprues of the old guys, grabbed some bases from Proxy Miniatures, and started working on those. I got a couple more upstairs. And finally, we have the Valentine's Day Twilight Knight, which I didn't do the best of jobs on, but I don't care. She's painted, and we'll leave it at that. It is a cool model, though. She's also really tall. I mean, she's dwarfing even just about everybody here in the photo. Oh, and one last one. The Kingdom Death Fighter from Echoes of Death. And I'm quite happy with how she turned out, because the fighter was one of my favorite of the generic models when they first started releasing those. And I've got one of the collector's edition ones of that. I think it was a collector's edition. I know I have one of the original runs. So anyway, not a super complicated paint job. I mean, I just kind of finished it up. I did like the fact that I got both her eyes in there done, even though they don't want to focus. Oh, I just realized I'm missing her lantern. She needs her lantern. So the original fighter model was quite tall compared to the rest of the Kingdom Death line, and you'll notice that despite being hunched over, she's still a good head or two taller than some of these other figures, except for the Valentine's Day Twilight Knight, who's just freakishly large, and I am wondering if that's something that's going to be a bit of something to look forward to with the later Kingdom Death models. I mean, she's really tall. She's at least 40 millimeters up to her head, 45 or 50, I think, with the hand. I have to double check. On the other hand, it makes things a lot easier to paint. Not that I did a great job, but whatever. So, I managed to get all this stuff done this week. How many figures this week? I wonder if I'm going to have to do a running tally at one point and actually go back and rewatch all these videos. So here's 8, 10, 12, 15. Are we going to hit 20? No, you didn't get painted this week. Well, close to it. Close, but not quite. Looking at about 18 figures done. So all in all, a good week in terms of getting things painted. And as I said before, if I can do it, then there's no excuse for any of you as I slowly fight my way through the various piles of unpainted, unbuilt minis around the house. With that said, this is High Lord Tamberley with Obscurities in Miniatures saying, get those brushes wet and let's get this stuff finished painting, yeah? See you later. Bye-bye.